What is up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda. As always, I'm your host Craig. It is my pleasure to be here with you good folks, talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. International break, of course, so there is that, but I'm not a massive fan of international football, so probably try and keep it to Liverpool, if I'm being honest. There is a bit of transfer gossip for us to go through as well. More and more stuff coming out about the Wijnaldum situation or his potential move to Barcelona. As always, though, ladies and gentlemen, this is your show. You tell me the content and the topics that you want to talk about, and we'll do our best to go through them. I do have a few little bits and pieces of transfer gossip from various news outlets as well. But most importantly, I hope that you're all well. I hope that your lives are happy, the sun's shining, and the birds are singing. Because it's getting to the springtime, the weather's starting to pick up, and hopefully all of our moods will lift a little bit as well, as all these restrictions slowly and surely start to get removed, and we can get back to some form of normality. It's the worst part of all of this next couple of weeks for me is just no Reds playing. That's going to be really difficult. Been having to sit through 2 weeks now of no Liverpool games as we then look to build up to that Arsenal game, which is going to be a cracker of a game, and one I'm very much looking forward to, and then of course the Champions League ties as well. But look, how are we? Nice to have you back, Craig, said Kay. Thank you. I did take yesterday off, and we will be doing the Anfield Agenda podcast live tomorrow, and after that I'm going to take the Monday off, probably, in all honesty, because I want to get mentally refreshed. I want to give myself a break, and I want to get ready for the big push for the end of the season, and hopefully pushing the channel on towards the 100k mark. As you can see, less than 100 away now from 84k, so don't forget, hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, drop a like on the video as well, and we will try and get other bits and pieces out over the weekend. But look, I feel like I need a break. I mean, the last year has been absolutely hectic with the amount of content we've put out. We've enjoyed every minute of it, but international breaks are usually a time where I either try and plan a family holiday around, or I try and take a few days off. So Jack did a show yesterday, I'm doing the show tonight, we'll do the live podcast tomorrow, and then I'll probably take Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday off. Jack might do a stream on one of those nights. We might put out a bit of short content or whatever, but we will be winding it down for a few days ahead of the push for the end of the season, because it's going to be hectic. 9 league games to go, Champions League games as well, so we're going to be keeping busy on both channels. So I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I just need to take these little chances for a break as and when I can. I hope you had a nice day off. I did, Michael. Yeah, it was lovely. It was really calm, really chilled yesterday. The day kind of, usually on my days off, mate, I struggle. Like I get itchy fingers, if you know what I mean. Like I want to get stuck into something, but we didn't. It was nice yesterday. Had a good chat with the wife and the kids, and we had a bit of fun. And yeah, it was good. It was a nice day, thank you. And I hope you all had a lovely day as well. Right, what do we want to talk about? We get straight into the UR stuff. Do you want to talk about Wijnaldum, folks? Do you want to talk about the Van Dijk situation? As always, you lead the chat, and I'm here to give you the info I have on it. Any news on Thugden and Thugdad? No, still trying to pin Theo down to a time. As you can expect, he's very busy at the minute. He is going to come on at some point. It's just a matter of being able to catch him at a time that suits. And often this is the case. I've done it, gone back and forth with other channels as well who've looked to get me on. Sometimes you just go through these little 1 or 2 week periods where nothing seems to line up. But Theo and hopefully Thugdad as well will be coming on for a chat really soon. Thanks for the chat on Discord earlier, mate. No problem. No problem at all. I mean, I love the Discord group. It's one of my favourite parts about the Anfield Agenda membership. If you are a member, by the way, and you haven't become a member on the Discord group, make sure to check out the community tab on the Anfield Agenda YouTube page, because if you are a member of Anfield Agenda FC, that's part of your membership. It's part of your $4.99 a month, so make sure you make use of it. And if you have any trouble accessing it or anything, let us know and we'll sort it out for you. And if you want to become a member of Anfield Agenda FC, click on the link in the description. If you don't see the link, there might be a blue join button there for you as well, and you can become a member for $4.99 a month. You get all the emojis, you get all the badges beside your name that change colour the longer you're with us, and you also get into that Discord group, which is where the fun and off the wall stuff happens. Some of the conversations we have in there are great crack altogether. Look, I've got some good news as well. The good folks at Kiev, we've been chatting away with them, and you know I love me a bag of Kievs. I've never hidden that, ladies and gentlemen. They said to you, Craig, Connor, do you know what we want to do? We want to send you guys a few boxes of Kievs so you can give them away to your audience in whatever way you see fit. So we're still working out the exact details of that, but we're going to be sending away some Kievs to you guys as well. We're going to be giving away bags and boxes left, right and centre over the next while. And they also asked me to let you guys know that if you are in the UK and you live live near a Waitrose, they've recently just partnered up with Waitrose, and Kyo's product will be available in your Waitrose supermarket. So don't forget to check them out as well. And as always, tonight's stream, along with many other streams here on Anfield Agenda, is only possible with thanks to the good folks at Boyle Sports. If you're going to have any flutters over the international break or stick a few quid on anything, please do use our sponsors, Boyle Sports. Most of the offers you'll see for Boyle are UK and Irish residents only, age 18 plus. And as always, please do gamble responsibly. All the links should be in the description to Boyle. If you do sign up, place your first tenner bet as well. Boyle will give you at least one free tenner bet. And as I've always said, thank you to them for backing us and for letting us do what we do. Right, folks, what have we got? Let's get Craig to 84k. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get to 84k. Let's push on to 85k, and then it's onto that YouTube Super Play button. Oh, the dreams, the glorious dreams I've been having about that play button. I won't even lie to you. I'm obsessed about it at this point. Kyo's and Anfield Agenda partnership incoming. It's the dream. I don't even want any money. I've said this to you before. I just love to big up brands that I like. And I genuinely love Kyo's. I really like New Hemp CBD. I don't want any money for it. I don't take any money for it. But if you've got a good product there and it's benefited me, it's worked for me and I like it, I'm happy to talk about it, because I think companies like Kyo's that have a proud Irish tradition, they need the world to know about their products. New Hemp CBD, a lovely London-based family business, making a fantastic CBD oil, CBD balms. The world should know about their business as well. So, you know, I like to do these things and talk about stuff that I like. It makes it easier, because if you're emotionally involved or really like something, it's easy to talk about it. Right, Genie news people want. Let's start with Nagab. Nagab said let's talk about the Genie Wijnaldum news. So, there's been a bit of back and forth over this. Some articles and some outlets have suggested that the Genie Wijnaldum deal has been signed off already, and that he has that deal in place to move to Barcelona at the end of the season. Over the past 24 to 48 hours, we've seen a little bit of a backtrack on this, in that, yeah, maybe signs point that could be where he's going to go, but there's still questions about whether he has or has not signed that pre-contract agreement. Certainly from Liverpool's perspective, they haven't been told that Liverpool, or that he signed it. At least they haven't publicly been let us know that they've been told that he signed it or not. Juan Laporta did say that he was on their wish list for the summer. Genie Wijnaldum is of course on international duty now with the Netherlands ahead of the World Cup playoffs and stuff. So look, it does point to that he's going to leave. There is an offer on the table from Liverpool. That offer has been there for a long time. It seems it's an offer that Genie Wijnaldum doesn't think is, I won't say fair, but it's not appealing to him and his family at this moment in time. I think that's the kindest way I can put it. Now, what's really annoyed me, and annoyed a lot of Liverpool fans, has been some of the shithousery on social media towards Genie Wijnaldum from so-called Liverpool fans. Look, when a player signs a contract, all we can ask that player to do is to honour his contract, to give everything on the pitch, and to leave nothing there, and to represent the club with integrity. Genie Wijnaldum has done that 100%. If Genie Wijnaldum moves on at the end of the season, which it looks like he probably will do, he should go with a huge thank you from all of us, a pat on the back for a job well done, and wish him the best with the rest of his career, because he has never shirked his responsibility at this club. He has never not given 100% on the pitch. He's always available. He's the manager's go-to, and he always does everything with a smile on his face. So it saddened me to see some people having sly little pops at Genie, because to me, I love the dude. He's always going to go down as one of the people that won us a European Cup, won us a Premier League title, won us our first Club World Cup. We won a Super Cup with him. He should go down in Liverpool folklore, and he should go with a massive pat on the back and a thank you from all of us for everything he's done for the football club. Plus, he has honoured the contract that he signed. That's, you know, we've seen players work and try and get out of contracts. We've seen players kick up fuss to try and leave clubs. Genie has honoured and will honour every minute and every day of that contract, and for that, he has my utmost respect, and he always will. Lucas Dillon, thank you for the super sticker. Do peace to you as well. Do I know Killian Whelan? Not that I'm aware of, mate, but, you know, I have a memory like a sieve, so if I have interacted with him, I don't know, but I can't think off the top of my head that I do. Any more news on Daka? There's a few murmurings around about Patson Daka. So to fill people in who might not know who Patson Daka is a striker, plays for RB Salzburg. Are they still called RB Salzburg now, or are they just Salzburg? Either way, plays for Salzburg and has been banging in goals. We were linked with him last summer, didn't pull the trigger. Linked with him January, didn't pull the trigger. But that link has still remained there. And for me, he is a very, very good option. We know Jurgen Klopp wants to strengthen our attacking options in the summer. That's apparently priority number one for the gaffer. And we could do a lot worse than Patson Daka. He's represented by Freddie Kennedy, the former Spurs player, and has spoken fondly about his admiration for Liverpool. We do have a good working relationship and open dialogue with Salzburg. And Jesse Marsh and the style of football they play is not a million miles away from what we do at Liverpool. So Patson Daka, yeah, I mean, that would be a good piece of business for me. I'm not saying he's the next Erling Haaland. I'm not saying that he's going to be prime Fernando Torres, but at the price point being mentioned, 25 million quid, 30 million quid, something like that, to add to the likes of Salah, Firmino, Mane and Jota, if we were to move Origi on and maybe move Shaqiri on, I think that would be clever. And we've also been linked to Houssem Aouar, the guy from Celtic. I'm not sure if his contract's up at the end of the season, if he's a free agent or not, but I've certainly seen the former PSG player's name mentioned a lot about Liverpool over the past 48 hours. But again, is there truth to this? I don't know. Is it maybe his agent angling to get him a big move and dropping Liverpool's name? It's always hard to tell in these scenarios, but personally, from what I've seen of Edward, albeit I won't be somebody who watches a lot of Scottish football, I'd rather Daka from what I've seen. Apologies to hear about your grandma passing away. Sakina, extremely saddened, and all of our love and best wishes go to you and your family. What else have we got? Genie. Right, I've talked about Genie. What else should we go? April 6th Madrid game. Yep. What else have we got? They're not real fans, said Brian. I know, imagine disrespecting a man that's done so much for the club, like. Daka, Kabak, Aouar, yes please, said TTV Klopp. Let's talk about Aouar actually, because Connor sent me something earlier on. So apparently Liverpool are set to battle Juventus for the signature of Houssem Aouar. The Reds have identified him as a possible replacement for Wijnaldum. Juventus are willing to pay around 34 million for the Frenchman, and that comes from Tuttosport, which is an Italian outlet. Now look, that shouldn't come as any surprise. We have kind of flirted and had links with Houssem Aouar for a long time. What I've always said to you guys is Jean-Michel Aulas, the Lyon president, is a very tough man to negotiate with, and a lot of deals have broken down because clubs haven't been able to work out an agreement with him. But Arsenal tried to get the guy in, and the likes of Houssem Aouar, for me, that's exactly the right type of name. I mean, I'd have no arguments whatsoever. You know, we're not looking at an exact like-for-like player here. Houssem Aouar probably a bit more on the front foot, or at least has been a bit more on the front foot for Lyon in the way he plays. Now, I know people are going to say Craig Genie plays in a more attacking role for the Netherlands, but he doesn't really play that role, or hasn't been asked to play that role so much by Klopp at Liverpool. So I love the idea of Houssem Aouar coming in. To me, that would make absolute sense. Again, can't stand over it and say it's 100% certain, but they are the kind of links that I like to see and read. Juventus look a disaster at the moment, said Noah Byrne. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Like, I have far more insight and knowledge into the stuff in La Liga than I would have in Serie A. I have far better friends and contacts as well to be able to ask questions about La Liga than I would Serie A. But from the outside, it looks like Juventus could potentially be getting rid of Aaron Ramsey, could potentially be moving Cristiano Ronaldo on. And, you know, they look like they could lose out on a potential 10 in a row in the league this year to Inter Milan, who are top in Serie A at this moment in time. Jeremy Doku, Keane, yep, that's another one that's been doing the rounds today. I think Jeremy Doku spoke and mentioned that Liverpool looked at him when he was 15 and he just thought it wasn't the right time during his career to make that move, and he's always assessing the right moves at the right time. And he said his thought process was something like, well, if they came in for me and they were interested in me at that age, you hope and I think that they'd come back and be interested in me again in the future. So another name we have been linked to, mate, yes. What do you think about Ramsey being linked with us? It's one that actually has me a little bit confused. Do I think Aaron Ramsey is a good footballer? Yes, I do. It kind of falls into that whole category of David Alaba, Aaron Ramsey, experienced kind of pro, latter part of the career, is probably looking for a big wage, can probably fill a few different roles. Now, obviously, David Alaba probably can fill more roles, and again, all signs still point to David Alaba wanting to go to Spain. I mean, he's made that his number one priority. He will be linked to us, he will be linked to other clubs in the Premier League, but he's always let it be known, or at least his close party have let it be known, that Barcelona Real Madrid, that's the club. He wants to play in La Liga. So, but the Aaron Ramsey thing, it caught my eye, I have to say. There is a player in Ramsey. I've always thought that, and I understood the stance he made when he left over Ozil, because he felt like he was putting up Mesut Ozil numbers, well, wasn't getting Mesut Ozil money at the time. So I don't know about Ramsey. I don't know if there's any truth to it, first and foremost, but it is an intriguing link. I will say that. I mean, I'm not saying that he would have the same impact as Gini and all, but on his day, when he's fit and available, he can certainly impact and bring something to a game. But I think for the wages he may ask for, there'd probably be better value out there. WFM said, thanks to everyone in the Discord while I was getting robbed today. What a weird day. I'm playing catch up on this one, buddy. As I said to you in the Discord group, I was recording earlier on and I only just seen that just before I went live, so I will, come in and hopefully have a chat with you later on. But firstly, glad to hear you're all okay. Secondly, I'm so sorry that you had to go through such a horrendous experience, buddy. But you're here with us, you're in the chat. That's great to see. And again, from all of us, lots of love, mate, to you and yours. And I will dip into the chat later on to have a proper chat with you about what happened. And again, just glad to see that you're okay, my man. I just hope that Daka doesn't become the next Minamino at Liverpool, said Negeb. The Minamino thing is, it is odd. Like, you're seeing links now with him to Sevilla, I think, maybe, if my memory's correct. And the figure of about 8.5 million has been mentioned. I wonder, though, will Southampton think, let's try and keep him at Southampton, because I think he'll continue to do well there under Rolf Hasenhüttl, and I like Southampton as a club. So if I'm tacky, I'd probably be eyeing that one up. But then again, we don't know what the story is at Liverpool. I mean, its signs seem to point to his time could be up, but did he even get a crack of the whip? I don't know. It's tough to say. Brian said he'd rather get a centre half for you young people out there. That's what us old folks call a centre back. Around 26, 27 years of age. Thank you, Yeats Defeatus, excuse me, saying keep up the hard work, bro. Appreciate that, my man. Want Ramsey, look at Bale at Spurs. No thanks. I get where you're coming from, and I really was shocked to see Spurs going for Bale, but I don't know. See, again, I haven't watched enough Serie A to really see how Ramsey is getting on, but I think there's better value to be had out there for us. I mean, Aouar is top talent. I'd love us to go and get him, as Paul has pointed out there as well in the chat. And then we've got Yves Bissouma, another player from Brighton who are known to be looking at and have monitored for a while as well. Then there's a few other bits and pieces I want to talk about here in the chat. We're linked again with Nabil Fekir, believe it or not. So this says Liverpool are considering reigniting their interest in Nabil Fekir. Liverpool had agreed a £52 million deal in 2018, but it fell through. Nabil could now be available for around £30 to £35 million after scoring 15 goals in 64 appearances for Real Betis, and that comes from, I believe, a Spanish journalist or a Spanish outlet whose name I can't pronounce. That's the only reason I'm not giving it credit. It's Todo Fichajes. I don't know how that's pronounced, but again, if that deal didn't go through the first time, we still don't really know why. We don't know if it was because of what showed up in the knee scan. We don't know if it was because something broke down between the player and the club, or something broke down between Liverpool and Lyon. We've heard lots of conjecture, but we've never heard any factual stuff on it. So I think we can move past Nabil Fekir personally. I mean, I would much rather go for Aouar than Nabil Fekir. There is a lot of talk, by the way, that Adrian San Miguel may well go back to Real Betis at the end of the season. We know his contract's up at Liverpool. He's long been linked with a move back to Betis, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if that one happens. And then there was another bit of an update today as well with regards to the Virgil van Dijk. So Frank de Boer, the Dutch national team manager, said his recovery is going according to plan. He has 8 weeks left. He'll be returning to training soon, but there can be all kinds of setbacks. Anything he can do to contribute to Liverpool and to us would be a bonus, but I'm not counting on him right now. Please don't rush him back. Basically just leverage, recover as and when his body's ready, which is exactly what you want to be hearing, because both Liverpool and the Netherlands need to think long term here as well about both a star player for both, captain of his country, one of our star players at Liverpool, and nobody wants for it to rush back too soon. It has to be the right time. Of course, as a proud Dutchman, he's going to want to go and represent his country in the Euros. He's going to want to try and maybe help Liverpool at the end of the season, but most importantly is that he looks after himself, gets his body right, and is ready to go for next season. Right, what else have we got? Sorry, I'm just trying to pick out some more comments. Ramsey would make a great squad player, said Tom Boland. What's your opinion on Rafinha? I really like him. I mean, I keep going back and forth between Rafinha and Neto in my head about which one I'd prefer at Liverpool, and I like them both for different reasons. Like, Rafinha is a bit more of a polished, skillful, amazing strike, but Neto has that kind of petulance of youth, that grittiness, that bit of shithousery, as well as the skill and the pressing, and I see a lot of good attributes in both of those players, and I gotta be honest with you, I wouldn't mind either of them at Liverpool Football Club. I think they're both excellent. Look, we all want Kylian Mbappe. Let's not put that dream to bed until it's absolutely killed off and, you know, burned to 1,000 pieces and we can't even piece the pieces back together. Until that moment, we're allowed to dream as football fans, and why shouldn't we? But in the realistic world, there are some... and Nkunku, I've never been convinced by his time at Leipzig and what I've seen of, if I'm being honest, Kala, excuse me. I've seen bits and pieces of Nkunku where I've thought, yeah, he's okay, but I've seen other times where he's just been not there for me. But again, I won't claim to have watched a whole heap of Nkunku at Leipzig. Usually, if I was watching Leipzig, I'd be keeping an eye on a different player. James Maddison said WFM, Leicester won't sell James Maddison for anything under an absolutely astronomical fee. They are building, and they're a club that are building towards trying to keep into Champions League places and push on to do things. They've got great owners there, and they don't need to sell. So I would think James Maddison would be a no-no because, again, going back to value in the market, which is what Liverpool and Klopp often look for, and I've been open about that being one of the things they look for in any deal. I just can't see. We missed the boat there when he left Norwich, I think, to be honest. Ismail Assar, again, we did try for Ismail Assar, I think, in the January window, if my memory's right. I keep pointing back to a piece Melissa Reddy put out on it where she spoke about Liverpool were met with a high figure for a transfer fee and something that had to, majority of it would have to have been paid up front, and we weren't in a position right then to do it. There's a really interesting piece actually in the Echo today where they talk about they're talking about football finances, and they talk about the 400 million difference in Liverpool and Manchester City, and basically, you know, what we've brought in profit and how far they've gone into debt with the players they've bought and the wages they are. Again, I can't explain it properly, but if you want to have a read about it, it is up there to have a look at, and again, written by a football finance expert, which I certainly am not. Who do I think Haaland will sign for? Unfortunately, mate, I think he'll sign for Manchester City. I mean, Real Madrid want them. They want Mbappe as well. I'm sure many other clubs around Europe will want Haaland, but I just have a feeling that he'll end up at Manchester City. And does that frighten me? Yes, it does, mate. It frightens the shit out of me thinking about him at Manchester City. Fekir is another Shaqiri. That is, mate, El Nino. That is a belter of a shout, mate. I think you've nailed it. I think you've summed up exactly what I was trying to say, mate, in 4 words. Well played. What else we got? Harvey Barnes, again, same thing at Leicester. Somebody who I love, by the way, Harvey Barnes. Somebody who I think Klopp would really like as well. But same type of situation. I think it would cost an awful lot of money to get him out of Leicester. Ruben Neves, I don't think we need a Ruben Neves, to be honest with you. We have Thiago, who can play deep. Not his best position, but he can play deep. We have Fabinho, one of the best central defensive deep line midfielders in Europe. So I don't see the need for Ruben Neves, to be honest, whereas previously, yeah, we've been linked with him. Pep Linders did work and help bring Ruben Neves through during his time when he worked with Porto, 7 years, I think, at the underage level there, coaching Porto. We brought through the likes of Ruben Neves there as well, but can't see that one happening. Do I have any pets? Yes, we have a dog called Gizmo. I heard Rafinha wants to stay at Leeds next year. It wouldn't surprise me, Brian. He might be really enjoying his life there. He's got a great manager, Marcelo Bielsa. And yeah, he's a focal point of that Leeds attack, and Leeds are obviously going to be in the Premier League next year. So yeah, there you go. If Haaland joins Manchester City, the Premier League will become a farmers' league. Look, it's all conjecture at this moment in time. I mean, he could go Chelsea. They might throw the money down on the table. Maybe Abramovich will say, hey, let's get Haaland. That'll be the last piece of the jigsaw. I don't know. Jigsaw? What's a jigsaw? I don't know. But again, I'd be absolutely baffled if he came to Liverpool. Ings to City has been another link. Yeah, I've seen that one floating around. Or one. Mark Goldberg said Haaland will sign for Chelsea. Mark Goldberg, said Haaland will sign for Chelsea. I don't know if Mark has information I don't, David. I can't speak on Mark's behalf, but he has been linked to Chelsea. I will agree with Mark on that one, but maybe Mark knows something I don't know on that. What have we got? What about Varane? Yeah, again, at Real Madrid right now, there's a lot of talk of a lot of players potentially moving on. I mean, to me, you're looking at the Modric's, the Toni Kroos's, the Sergio Ramos's, the aging players that are on really high wages. Yes, Varane has been mentioned as somebody who could be available, but I'm still astounded as to why. And I'm sure there'd be no shortage of takers if it was a reasonable fee. Scully said I would like Son from Spurs. I've been saying that for years, mate. I think a lot of Liverpool fans have. He would be tailor-made for our system, but again, he won't move from Spurs, I don't think. How many players do you reckon will sign this summer? Again, I think it may depend on outgoings to some extent. I'm expecting Adrian to go. I'm expecting Origi to go. I'm expecting Shaqiri to go. I'm unsure on the Matip situation. Obviously, there will be others, young players, and the likes who probably move on. I'm thinking of the Wilsons of this world and a few other players who probably move on, a few fringe players. But incomings, a forward, a midfielder, maybe a centre-back. That's all I can really think of off the top of my head. I'm Norwegian, said Jorgen. How are you, mate? And he said, and I have a feeling about Haaland going to City next summer. I know, so do I. And look, they need a striker. Aguero contract is up, may move on. Jesus isn't quite to the levels maybe they were expecting, albeit a very good player. And Haaland, his father has history with the club as well, so you never know. We've been offered a boost in our pursuit of Koulibaly. Not sure it's good enough though, Craig thoughts. Look, Koulibaly as a footballer, absolutely good enough. Koulibaly in the age bracket, not for us, I don't think. I've even seen the price discounted massively down to about 35-40 million. But you're signing somebody who I think is going to be 29 maybe when next season starts. And I'd rather we look like Brian said earlier on, centre-back maybe 25, 26, something along those lines. How much do you think we need in the summer? Again, it will depend on what players we can move on, mate, and where we're going to be with regards to will fans be back inside stadiums? Will the club be able to sell season tickets? And there's some conversations going around maybe about Liverpool trying to lead the way about maybe being able to screen non-televised games. And by that I mean right now all the games are being televised, but as we know, normally we don't get all the kick-off games here in the UK and Ireland when it comes to football. So there's talk of Liverpool maybe trying to push and lead the way in selling off those games online, so as if they're not shown by Sky or BT or whoever it might be, that maybe customers will be able to buy a pass to watch them games online. And I think that's a model the Premier League should look to move to, full stop. I think the next round of contract talks for the Premier League rights are 2022. I could be wrong on that, and if I am, I apologise, but I do love the idea, and I think I remember hearing it floated by who's the guy that used to run Crystal Palace? Simon Jordan spoke about it once. And look, I've disagreed with Simon Jordan on a lot of things in my head, but when he said that the Premier League should keep and sell their own rights, I think it's an absolutely brilliant model. Look what the WWE have done, as an example. You go on, you can watch any WWE or WWF fight right throughout history. The whole back catalogue is there. You get lots of extra content and lots of other stuff. The Premier League could absolutely do a Netflix streaming style service, particularly if they were to be able to get it to a point where we could properly watch it on our TVs, without the buffering and stuff like this that some people have suffered with Amazon Prime and a few other bits and pieces. So I love the idea of a Premier League Netflix style service where you can buy a pass that covers everything. Maybe you can buy a pass that just covers your club. And I know people are going to say that money has to be spread evenly across clubs. And I know that people will say maybe that money would just, allow Liverpool, United, City, Arsenal, Spurs to push on even further. But us as fans are the most important thing. And I can't envision a world in 2022, 2023 where we can't watch all of our club's games. It just seems ludicrous to me. Whether you're a Villa fan, whether you're a Chelsea fan or a Liverpool fan, whether you're a fan of a League One club or a Championship club, it should be ridiculous. It's ridiculous that in this day and age with the technology that exists, that we cannot watch every one of our own club's games due to the restrictions placed on the Premier League for the rights for the UK and Ireland. It has to change. There has to be a way that we can, yes, of course, keep parity and help make sure that the Premier League remains somewhat steady and somewhat, what's the phrase I'm looking for here, competitive, because look, some clubs will bring in more money than other clubs, and I'm sure that they will maybe find a model that can help that, but God, we should be able to get to a point where we can watch every Liverpool game or every United game or every Arsenal game. It's ridiculous that we can't. City getting Haaland would mean the Premier League is written off for 3 to 5 years. I mean, I wouldn't have that defeatist an attitude, mate, but it would certainly be a great piece of business by them. Craig, do you think Phillips or Kabak could replace Gomez next season and play alongside VVD? No, Gomez will be the partner. If Gomez is fit, it'll be Gomez and Van Dijk. I thought Phillips. To me, the idea of maybe moving on Matip and keeping Phillips as 4th or 5th choice, just because he's more rugged and because he seems to be able to cope with the demands of the Premier League better. I'm not saying he's a better defender than Matip, because he isn't. But Matip just can't put a run of games together, and we need dependable partnership. So I think Gomez and Van Dijk will be the partnership. Kabak has time still to prove himself. We don't know what's going to happen there. We know we've got an option, not an obligation to buy. And Calais-Dakar, those links have come up again today, saying Liverpool may go back and to the Marseille defender and look to sign him in the summer. So, I don't know what to say with regards to the centre-back situation, because a lot of it will depend on how well Ozan Kabak performs between now and the end of the season. Brendan O'Brien, thank you for the super chat. My man said, have an NBA pass and I get every Boston Celtics game, which is brilliant and what I want. Hopefully the Premier League can do the same. It just seems mental, doesn't it? Like, it just seems so silly that we can't buy a pass to watch all of our own club's games. Like, let's say there was a base system, right, where you had to buy a Premier League pass, and that Premier League pass got you, I don't know, access to X amount of games, but then you could buy your club pass on top of that. I know we're talking money here, but like, how expensive is a Sky or a BT subscription? It all adds up. So let's say we got to a point where we could buy a pass for our own club, on top of making sure that the clubs that won't make as much money still get a good share of Premier League revenue. I think that there can be a way found that will benefit everybody. And I know bigger clubs like Liverpool, United, we are trying to look after ourselves in more ways. We are trying to take a bigger slice of the pie. We are trying to engineer things to make it safer, to make sure we'll be in Champions League longer. And I don't appreciate some of that. I really don't. But at the same time, as fans, the fact that we can't watch our own club is ridiculous. Now, let me pitch you an idea. And it's an idea that somebody gave to me 2-3 years ago. Imagine you could buy a VR season ticket pass to Liverpool. So you put a couple of cameras in the Kop, a few different positions, a couple of cameras in the main stand, a couple of cameras in the Annie Road end or the Sir Kenny Dalglish stand, and you put on your virtual goggles and you get that view. You look left, you see the people to your left. You look right, you see the people to your right. You hear the sights and sounds of Anfield on a match day. Now imagine that. I don't know how many cameras or how many seats that would have to take up inside the ground, but let's call it 20 seats inside of a ground. Imagine how many virtual season tickets that they would be able to sell. And not only that, add into that the integration. So let's say you're watching it, and you've got your goggles on, you're watching your game, and Van Dijk comes up and scores a header. Ping straight away, 10% off all Van Dijk shirts by clicking here. Go to the Liverpool club store. The integration and the technology that's possible these days, it's phenomenal. And like that should be the future. So we know right now, nothing will ever replace being inside Anfield. Nothing will ever replace being in the stadium. But imagine being able to be in India or Australia or Ireland or America or wherever you live in the world right now and being able to buy a virtual season ticket. And how many the club could sell. How much revenue that could generate. Yeah, it'll hold 54,000, 60,000 with the Annie Road and extension, but you could sell an unlimited amount of virtual season tickets because, you know, you only need those 20 cameras or whatever. Again, I'm not a geek about technology, but this was brought to me by somebody a long time ago as an idea, and I think it should be the way forward. It's just common sense. What have we got? Any news on Goncalves or Calais-Dakar? Calais-Dakar, I did see some stuff on today. Again, I think Liverpool do still hold an interest there. There's been varying stories on how that deal fell apart. So some people think that Marseille couldn't get the money that they were asking for, so to try and say it, they said that they couldn't get a replacement and that's why they didn't sell him. Some people believe that, you know, the player was sitting on the tarmac ready to go and that the move fell apart. I don't know what happened, but I think we do still hold an interest there. On the other guy, I genuinely haven't got a clue. Bula, mate, sorry. Okay, would you sign Basuma for Liverpool? I can't say, Jake, because I'll be honest and say, have I watched an awful lot of Brighton? Probably not. Do I know Basuma is of interest to our scouting team? 100% yes. He's definitely on the list of players that Liverpool have and will continue to monitor. The 3 p.m. blackout is ridiculous and it should be done away with. And for those that aren't aware, the 3 p.m. blackout was brought into to England to look after stadiums and make sure that match day was full, make sure that people continue going to games, and so they couldn't be shown 3 p.m. kickoffs on a Saturday, and there's a blackout, which basically means no 3 p.m. games normally can be broadcast, and it's to ensure that fans can go to stadiums and watch the games, and that the clubs can sell their season tickets and sell tickets. Now look, let's be frank about it, with so many different time spots now in the Premier League, so you've got Friday games, you've got 4 different Saturday kickoff times, Sunday kickoff times, Monday. Football isn't all about 3 p.m. on a Saturday like it used to be, so it is a ridiculous rule. It should be done away with. Because the time slot isn't the same. It's not that everybody plays at 3 o'clock on a Saturday like the old days or when it was brought in. K-Dot said, virtual reality is the future, Craig. Will be front row at Anfield, well in the comfort of my home. You don't want to be front row. You don't want to be front row, mate. It's not the greatest view. You want to be about 10 or 12 rows back. For me, much better view. I was in the front. I remember being in the front row of the Kenny Dalglish stand for the game against Spurs one year. I think we drew 1-1. Kane scored for Spurs. I didn't like the view at all from the front row. I mean, I was in the paddock before as well. I love that. But for me, about 10, 12 rows back in the Kop. That's about the height you want to be, I think. What are your thoughts of Otavio from Porto? I don't have many thoughts on Otavio from Porto because I don't know much about the guy, in all honesty, for the gaffer. So I'll always give you guys honest opinions on here. If I don't know something about a player, I'm not going to bullshit you and tell you I do. I don't know much about the guy at all. I'll be able to virtually touch Salah and he might go down for a virtual penalty. Are we excited for Liverpool versus Real Madrid match? Absolutely buzzing for it, Kieran. And look, I know that Kloppo on the team and everybody will be out there talking about no, revenge isn't on our mind. We're fully focused on the job at hand. We're professionals. And I don't buy it. Vendetta. To rob a phrase from The Simpsons. It's there's something on this. They've already said that they've avoided the big coconuts, I think was the translation in Marca, whatever Spanish paper it was. Yeah, no, we're going to be up for this, and it's going to be 2 good games, and it's going to be close. I mean, it could go either way, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm happier to be on that side of the draw anyway. Pau Torres. You might remember me, Keane, talking about Pau Torres last year when we were talking about centre backs as one of the options, along with Ben White and a few others that I would have liked us to look at. He could be a little bit lightweight, which would be the only thing I would say, but I rate Pau Torres as a centre back. I think he'd been linked with United as well at some point, but certainly somebody who should be under consideration. I'm sure will probably be at least have the eye run over him by the Liverpool scouting network. But yeah, I like Pau Torres myself, but I always just have this thing: is he a little bit lightweight? Origi to Inter, Origi to wherever. As far as Origi to, I don't mind as long as it gets the club the figure that they ask for. I'll always have fond memories of Divock for those magic moments, and I'll always get on in folklore for the goal against Everton for the Champions League moments. But I think that I've long been somebody who said I think the time is right for Divock to move on to pastures new. Again, Nikhil, I will have to give you the same answer as I gave the other guy. I have no idea about that guy, mate. So I won't be able to give you an opinion on somebody I don't know anything about. Did you hear Rashford and Mason Greenwood have been injured in England training? Glad Trent didn't get picked. Look, I never want to hear of any players getting injured, mate, no matter what club that they play for. And there does seem to be a fair amount of injuries and stuff picked up when players go away with the English national team. Or maybe I just have that in my head, I don't know. But all I can reiterate is that I don't like to hear players getting injured. Craig, surely if we wanted to get revenge, we would have gotten revenge during the Merseyside derby. See, the difference is there, Rafa the Gaffer. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, so feel free to, give your own. I don't think Jordan Pickford intentionally set out to injure Virgil van Dijk. I don't in any way, shape or form believe that was the case. It was clumsy, it was stupid, and it caused the injury. But I don't think it was intentional. Now, fast forward to later on in the game, Richarlison's shithouse tackle on Thiago, that's a whole another thing. But Ramos knew what he was doing. Ramos has a history of this type of stuff. And that wasn't an accident as far as I'm concerned. Whereas I believe Pickford's wasn't intentional. I believe it was just clumsy. So I think the difference of a Merseyside derby and a Champions League final, which we were on top of, I think we were playing better than Madrid. I think we may have fallen 1-0 down, but we were playing better. We were on top. And then that happened to Salah. And let's not forget, by the way, in the same game, his shithouse snidey elbow into the head of Karius, whose career has basically flopped. I'm not saying only because of that, but has been since proven that he was concussed during that game. I think there was an article out recently that Klopp was contacted by, was it Karl-Heinz Rummenigge or somebody high up in Bayern Munich, that said their club doctor said maybe look into the fact that, Karius could have been concussed in that incident. He was sent to see a specialist, I think, at Boston, and it was proven that he was. And again, that went unpunished. And again, I can't say with any degree of absolute certainty that it would be the only reason he threw the ball to Benzema or the only reason he let the ball slip through his hands. I don't even know actually the timeline of the Benzema goal. Let's push that one aside. The Bale one was a worldie. Nobody was stopping that. But the one that he let slip through, none of us will ever know. None of us will ever know the impact that had. And I really find it disheartening that happened to that young man in that moment. Like and for him to apologise, and what you could see, he was distraught at the end of it. So, I know some people have a mindset of win at all costs, and I know some people have a mindset, that they think Ramos is the greatest defender. I think he's a scumbag. I'll be honest about it. I don't have any time for Sergio Ramos. I don't like him at all. He is the king of shithousery, but sometimes he's gone too far. And the amount of red cards he's been given in his career, the amount of stuff he's gotten away with, I just don't like him. He's just a schneid, and I really do hope that Mohamed Salah tears him a new one when we play them. I'm not going to hide that fact. I don't, talk down about many people, but I do not like and do not have any time for Sergio Ramos in any way, shape or form. To me, he's just a fucking thug, basically. That's my take on it. What else we got? It was 50, at 50, 60 minutes to Benzema got. I can't remember again, sketchy memory, but I think I tried to block out that entire game, to be honest with you, from my thoughts. It's sometimes fun to banter Karius, but that said, what happened to him since that moment? Yeah, look, he's we don't know. We don't know how his career would have went. He still may not have been good enough at Liverpool. You know, we won't know that, but all I can think of is the human side of that. His parents were in the stand, and he knows what happened there, and like, I'll never forget this at the end of the game with Karius' expression on his face, just as a human in that moment. I just felt for him. Obviously, I was bitterly disappointed we'd lost, but yeah, it was just one of those moments. And again, he may not have entirely been down to it, but Ramos' snidiness again played a massive part. Salah had a shoulder injury because of Ramos. Yeah, exactly. And even his the way Ramos carried on after it in the interviews and stuff, like I don't know. Look, Madrid fans will look at this and laugh and say whatever, and they're entitled to it. We're all entitled to our own views on this, but I just don't like Sergio Ramos. I'm Spanish and totally dislike Ramos. I hate to think a game can be won by dishonesty. I've completely forgotten about Kiev. Now that I hear Kiev, I think of chicken. Is it weird that when I think of Kiev now, I just think of what's her name? Dua Lipa. That's all I think of when I think of that final now, is the Dua Lipa and the one kiss and the Liverpool fans bouncing to that inside the stadium. That's my abiding memory. And of course Bale's worldy goal, which deserved a place in any Champions League final. It was just a masterpiece of a goal. I don't like to think of Kiev, said Michael Smith. I don't think many of us do, mate, but yeah, it's Dua Lipa was the only highlight of me for that. Like, she'll always be a Liverpool fan favourite because of that night, I think, and just seeing all the travelling Reds bopping away to one kiss was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Craig, if it was for you to choose which midfielder you would sign for LFC, I like the Aouar stuff. I do, mate. I do like the idea of Liverpool go out and sign Houssem Aouar. Craig, Gini will leave. Unfortunately, it does look that way, mate. But the important thing is, as I said at the start of the stream, he should go with a massive thank you from all of us and nothing but our admiration, because he's honoured his contract, he's represented the club magnificently, he's carried himself and carried the club with dignity, honour and respect. I've nothing but love and admiration for Gini Wijnaldum, and I wish him well wherever he goes or whatever he does with the rest of his career, because the man has been a great servant to our football club. Any idea when the next vid with Ian and Leon is? There won't be any, but I think by the way things are working out, mate, by the looks of it. Not that I'm aware of anyway. We're going to be shaking up the content a bit though. We're going to be doing some shorter form video. We're going to be putting out some video on topics like favourite shirts over the years and best and worst players and certain things. We're going to be making more fun content as well as the 45-minute news shows and the watch-alongs. We're going to be doing 12 to 15-minute form content. We're going to be making more interactive content. We're working on some of the tech now at the minute behind the scenes as well. All stuff we'll be trialling over the summer, ready for the new season. So I promise you, stick with us here at Anfield Agenda. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the stream, make sure you've got your notifications turned on. We'll be covering the Euros as well over on Mundo Sporto, with thanks to Boyle Sports over there, so make sure you join us for the Euro coverage over on Mundo Sporto. And look, we're going to continue on, as I said, towards the end of the season, but we're going to be doing the Anfield Agenda podcast live tomorrow, so myself, Steve Bland and Jack Gill. So again, anybody who tunes in to watch, we won't be interacting because the podcast goes out on audio as well. So it's not that we're being rude. It's not that we don't see the comments. It's just that we need the three of us to be focused in this conversation for it to work as a podcast. So that's going to be live tomorrow. That will of course then go out on iTunes, on Acast, on Spotify, or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. Check out the Mundo Sporto podcast as well. I'm going to take a few days off then. Probably I might do one short video between then and Monday, because from Monday on we'll be looking down to the Arsenal game, and we've a busy end of the season. So I'm going to take this chance to get a little bit of a break, spend some more time with my family and just chill, because a lot of good stuff coming up, a lot of good memories to be had yet, I think, ladies and gents, and hopefully with your help we can get Anfield Agenda to 100,000 subscribers, because to say I'm obsessed with it at the moment is an understatement. I'm checking, I'm looking, every single time the number goes up 1, I'm happy. If it goes down 1, I'm wondering why. So if you want to help us out, spread the word about the channel. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok as well, by the way. Don't forget that. We're going to be doing more TikTok content as well. And if you want to give me a follow personally, my Twitter handle is going into the chat there now. I am on private, so I do have to manually approve every account, so I think you'll understand why that is. But if anyone wants to give me a follow, it is in the chat there now as well. It's just at Craig Holden. But most importantly, keep an eye on our socials, because we're going to be getting much more active in the likes of Instagram and stuff as well. We're just about to hit 35,000 followers on Instagram. So if you go over there and give us a follow, you could be the one that gets us to 35k. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how much I love all of you, how much you've helped me through the lockdown, because we receive lots of messages to say that we've helped you guys through it. You've made me the person I am today. You guys and my family have turned me into the person that I am. I'm a kinder, more loving, softer person because of you, the support that you've shown me and the strength that you've given me. So, you know, I get a bit soft at times. I can't help it. I love you crazy motherfuckers, and you mean the world to me and to Connor. So thank you for everything. If I don't see you over the next few days, don't worry. It's going to be just me taking a few days off to chill and relax ahead of a busy end to the season. We can do this 100k if we work together and we focus and we push. And stay safe, be well. Lots of love to all of you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Hope to see you for the podcast tomorrow.